Hi, welcome to the Mohua show. My name is Mohua Chinnappa and I am an author, entrepreneur and ex-housewife. This podcast is about everything from business to technology to arts to lifestyle, but done and spoken ईमानदारी से. Hi, in today's episode, we have with us a best-selling author, Prem Rawat. Prem has been a teenage icon and a global peace ambassador who's inspired millions of people with his message of hope, happiness, and peace. He has recently launched his book, Swayam Ki Awaaz, which is a Hindi translation of his New York Times best-selling book, Hear Yourself. The book has received much appreciation and reviews in many countries, including India. Today, we are going to have a conversation with Prem about his book and the extraordinary journey of his life. So the first question, like most people would want to know, is your journey. At 4 years, when most boys are playing outside, how did you choose this path?
There is always a curiosity in terms of what life has to offer. And sometimes we look at it very deeply. We look at it like, wow, all the meaning of life and this and that. But for a 4-year-old, it was very much the father's words that he would talk about peace, he would talk about joy, he would talk about happiness. And that whatever beauty there was on the outside has to also exist on the inside. And peace became a very big fulcrum for everything around me. And that's where this journey starts. This journey really starts from the words of my father falling in my ears again and again and again, and a simple realization that, in fact, the beauty that I witness on the outside also has to be inside of me.
You travel the world spreading the message of peace. Can you recall the first time that you traveled outside India and you spoke about your realization? What was that whole experience like and where did you go?
Well, in fact, most of the speeches that I gave before I went traveling to England, and that was the first country I went to, was in India. And I went to very many places in India. I went to Bihar, went to Gujarat, went to Bombay, of course, Dehradun, Delhi. And I talked about peace, the possibility of peace, to every human being that would come and listen to me, give me a few minutes of their life, and I would give them a possibility of peace in their life. Taking this message outside, there was a 2-point goal. One is to, of course, take the message, but really didn't know how people outside of India would react to this message. Would message of peace be even interesting to them? And in retrospect, of course it was. And every human being, it doesn't matter from which country, what level of society they come from, what they have accomplished in their lives, what they haven't accomplished in their lives, how sad they have been, how happy they have been, whatever the case may be, even kindergarten kids. And I was able to go and visit them. And these were kids that had been displaced because of the tsunami in Japan. And when I went and saw them, and they were so young, so tender age, and yet the idea of peace, an idea of knowing themselves, they were just as fascinated. And it really reminded me of myself at that kindergarten age, being fascinated by the idea of that beauty that I see on the outside also resides within me.
How beautiful. You've just recently also released a book. Why didn't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, the first time I released this book, it was called Hear Yourself, and that was in English. And subsequently, then there was translations in German, translations in many different languages, French, and so on. And as a result, then there was the request to have it in Hindi. So I had it translated, and that translation is Swayam Ki Awaaz, Hear Yourself. Is shor bari duniya mein, in this noise-filled world, hear yourself. And the point and purpose of the book really is to point to you the possibilities that you have, not what other people entitle you to have, but what you have as a human being. Very basically, very intrinsically, what is already inside of.
So let's just go down to the title of the book. I'm sure you must have thought of many other titles. And why did you choose Swayam Ki Awaaz, to hear yourself? Because I'm sure the book captures a whole lot of other things too.
Yes, it does. But the thing is that, there is a voice, and there is a voice that the heart wants to talk to you, wants to communicate to you. And then there is the voice of the world that has been implanted in our heads since a very young age. There's so many factions of this world that tell us, no, this is what you need to know. This is what you need to know. This is what you need to know. This is what you need. And then literally it's like this. There was a guy, and this is a true thing that happened. And one day he came home, and as soon as he stepped in his home, his wife said, oh, we're out of flour, we are out of sugar, we are out of tea, we got to do this, we got to do this, we have to get this, and we have to get this. And he had just come from the office. He was tired, he was broke, he was just beat. He just wanted to rest. And as soon as his youngest son heard that the dad might be home, he jumped up and he said, Dad, I need new shoes, I need new bag, I needed this, I needed that. And as soon as the youngest son started saying all these things, the older son came in and, oh, Dad, I need this, I need that, and that. And all of a sudden, the dad realized that I worked so hard. Neither am I happy, nor is my family. What have I attained? What have I achieved? And it just so happened that one of the neighbors had a few videos of me. So they shared the video and they started watching. And then the guy understood that he had to be happy. If he wanted his family to be happy, he had to be happy. He had to be the strong bone. But when your spine itself, that your whole body bases itself on to stand up, is weak, then how are you going to stand up? And this is exactly what is going on in so many people's lives in very different ways. They want to stand up. They want the world to be a better place. Perhaps they want their family to be a better family. Maybe they want their work environment to be a better place. They want things to be better for them. But are they themselves better? Have they become good? Once, and this is coming back to India, but Hanuman was once asked, why do you follow Ram? So I'm going back to very basics. Why do you follow Ram? He could have given any answer. He could have given a very spiritual answer. He could have given a very, mysterious answer. But he says very beautifully, he says, because Ram makes me a better person. We have a possibility to be a better person. This is what Socrates is saying. Know thyself. Know what your potential is. Understand who you are. You are not the sum of your problems. You're not the sum of all these voices that come into your head and say, it's this way, it's that way. You didn't succeed. You succeeded, but you could have done better. You could be this way. You could be that way. But it's not about those voices. There is another voice. Hear yourself. Be who truly you are. And you could never be that unless you do know yourself.
Oh my God, this was so beautiful. My goodness. So you know what, Prem? We do live in a very fast-paced world, and so few of us have the time to really stop and think and listen to ourselves. What advice would you like to give some of our listeners? Because I'm sure they all struggle with a fundamental thing of finding peace and happiness, and we really don't know what would be that path, So some simple, easy steps that maybe some of our listeners who are listening to this podcast may just take back with them.
Look at your watch and watch the second hand on your watch. And you might think the world is moving that fast, but it isn't. You are moving at the speed of your breath. Focus in on the clock that you have that is every day making sure that you stay alive, sustain you. Then you will see not the speed of this world, but the beauty of existence.
You're also an avid traveler. So which are your favorite countries that you've traveled so far?
Well, amazingly enough, I don't really get to see the countries that much. I really spend most of my time with the people. And people all around the world are very, very beautiful. Very beautiful. All same human beings. Maybe we come in different models. We come in different looks. Maybe we come in different languages. But we are exactly the same. Our aspirations are the same. You go to a country like Japan. I like Japan quite a bit. Everything is so incredibly disciplined. And then you can end up in some other countries where everybody's driving all over the place and very undisciplined. But it's not about discipline. It's not about undiscipline. It is about being alive, enjoying. And the question really becomes, are people really enjoying themselves? It is not, as you might consider, an index of happiness. That's arbitrary. I mean, there is a person who could be in perfect health, clinically in perfect health. Heartbeat is absolutely dead beyond good. Everything is good. Heart is good. Liver is good. Lungs are good. Everything is good. But he has a lot of depression in his head because he is not happy with what he has. So is he healthy or is he not healthy? And the issue is, maybe clinically on one level, he is very healthy, but really he is not healthy at all. And that to me becomes the main issue. We have achieved so much, but what have we achieved? What have we achieved for each one of us as human beings in the face of this? Are we more frustrated? Are there more road rages on the streets today? Are people more afraid of each other? When we start to become afraid of each other, we are more afraid of other human beings than we are afraid of lions, for that matter. So there's something fundamentally wrong with that. So we can say, oh yeah, we have achieved this, we have achieved this, we have achieved this. But have we achieved anything that is of substance? Yes, we can say human beings have accomplished a lot, but if the human beings have not been able to accomplish peace, then this is something that truly is going to be missing out of the equation. And that's not satisfactory.
So what is the best way to access your message?
Well, there is a website that you can go to, and there's premrawat.com. That is a very good portal to get access to a lot of the information. And then there is also the hearyourself.in. That is for the Swam Ki Awaaz.
Thank you so much for being on this podcast. So here we had with us Prem Rawat, a pilot, photographer, a classic car restorer, and an author of a book called Swam Ki Awaaz. Thank you so much for being on today's show.
Thank you.
Thank you. To you, our dearest listeners, you can find us on your favorite streaming services, Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcast, and of course on all other major streaming services. With loads of love, we are The Mohua Show, where we talk ईमानदारी से.